What's up, guys? We're back for another Dana White Contender Series predictions video. This is going to be week 9, so just right before we start, make sure to drop a like down below, put down in the comments who you think is going to win, what you think about this card. We did well on the Dana White Contender Series last week. We hit all our plays that we made. We were perfect on the picks, so hopefully we can bring that into this card. But the first fight of the night, we got Sabatello taking on Taylor Moore, and Sabatello, he's 8-1. He's fighting out of American Top Team. He's been fighting a lot in Titan FC, but his competition level has been pretty low. He's really only faced one fighter close to UFC level, and in that fight against Erwin Rivera, he lost via 4th round knockout. To be fair, I mean, he wasn't winning practically in the entire fight versus Rivera before he got finished, but his last win was his best win. That opponent was 5-3. Taylor Moore, he's been fighting primarily out of the Michigan regional scene. He's also fought a pretty weak competition, but does have more wins over fighters with winning records than Sabatello, and he's going to be the little bit bigger guy out there. But for Sabatello, he's a good athlete. He's aggressive, strong wrestler, good double legs, good body locks. His top game is pretty good, but doesn't really have striking, doesn't really set up his shots well. He could shoot from way too far out. He'll let his hands go wildly on the inside and just look kind of amateur at times. He also will, shooting, come up and throw a couple strikes, then reshoot, which that's what he does pretty well. He's kind of relentless, and he can kind of, change levels, come up, land some shots, change levels again, take you down. Taylor Moore is a similar fighter. He's probably even worse striking than Sabatello. Tries to push guys to the cage, wrestle, control on top, and doesn't have the best takedown defense, though. He likes to play off his back. He was taken down several times in his last fight, eventually found a triangle choke submission. But, I mean, looking at this fight, I think it's a good matchup for Sabatello. To beat Sabatello, you're going to have good striking, going to be able to keep him off, and good footwork, and be able to defend the takedowns. Taylor Moore, to me, he's going to kind of play the game. He's going to, get on his back, try to find submissions, and I just don't see him subbing Sabatello. Danny's fought better fighters. He's the better athlete, the better wrestler. I don't think this will be a fun fight, but I see Danny Sabatello winning eventually by submission here. So I'm going to go with Danny Sabatello to get the win. In the second fight of the night, we have a women's fight, but this one should be pretty entertaining with Luana Panera taking on Stephanie Frausto. Panera, she's 7-1. She's won 5 in a row. Her opponent, kind of a more salty record, 6-4, but she is 4-1 in her last 5 fights, and Frausto has definitely fought the better competition. Most of her losses are to UFC or Bellator veterans. And for Luana Pinheiro, in 7 wins, she's finished 6 in the first round, 5 submissions, 1 knockout. You could see why with her style too. She quite literally, early on in her career, would run across the cage, try to clinch up immediately. She would throw a couple strikes, but really only to close the distance. Her striking used to be kind of totally reckless and unrefined. She would just wing and loops, slapping punches, try to overwhelm people. But now she's gotten a lot better at keeping the range, being smart, getting on the inside better. She will make some mistakes on the feet, but overall you could clearly see she's improving a lot. And she does have good takedowns in the clinch, really good throws, seems super strong for the division. And when she gets on top, she's very aggressive with her ground and pound, with her submission game, always looking for the finish. She does slow down big time. And, in the third round, I have seen her kind of, have her hands totally down and kind of try to run away while winging shots to just try to keep fighters off of her. She's only been in the third round twice in her career. She's 1-1 in those fights. For Stephanie Frausto, she's finished 7 of her 8 wins herself, and she's been finished 3 times, 1 and 2 in decisions for Frausto. And she's actually the sister of Zoila Frausto, the famous MMA fighter, and she's been training, competing for a long time. Her first professional fight was in 2010, but she's just fought very sparingly between 2010 to 2017. She fought, then she took 2 years off, returned in 2019. She's gone 2-0, and she's still young. She's still only 30 years old, so she has some time, but she's the better striker here. I think she isn't great, but she controls distance better. She throws nice straight punches. She tries to pull counter, some decent kicks. She likes to mix it up and clinch, and I feel she has better offense from the clinch with knees and elbows, but she's going to be at a big physicality disadvantage there, in my opinion. Frausto's been a girl who gets tired and finished in the later rounds, and she also has been caught in an armbar in her second pro fight. She does have a 5-round decision win over Angela Danzig in 2017, but in fights that went to the 3rd round in her career, she's only 1-4 overall. With this fight, I mean, I just think Luana is going to be a little bit too big, too aggressive here. I think she's going to get the takedowns. We've seen Frausto sub before, and I just got to go with the bigger girl that I think is the better athlete, that I think is going to be a lot stronger, and that I just rate as, maybe the better fighter. So I got to go with Luana Pinheiro here. In the 3rd fight of the night, we got Joseph Lowry taking on Nicolas Moda. And Lowry, he's 9-1. He's fighting out of Pennsylvania. This is going to be his 2nd appearance on the Contender Series, and looking for a better showing than he had the first time. The first time he got knocked out by Devontae Smith less than 3 minutes into the fight. And he's defeated some decent fighters along the way, but he's a boxer, good head movement, slip and rip ability, good counter straights and hooks, rips the body, good power. And he has a lot of knockout wins. His last fight he had a great finish against a Bellator veteran. 5 knockouts, but isn't much of a grappler. He will sometimes push fighters to the cage, but I don't think he has the desire to take down someone with the jiu-jitsu of Moda, nor do I think he can hold him down if he does take him down. I think this is going to be a striking fight. Nicolas Moda, he's a Brazilian. He's now training in New Jersey with Ricardo Almeida, Mark Henry, and those guys. And he's competed under the UFC banner. He's fought in Tough Brazil. He won a fight on the show, then got submitted by the eventual winner of the season, Glyco França. And he has some pretty solid wins throughout his career. He's a knockout of Joe Selecki. And he's won back-to-back fights. He won the CFFC title last November. Moda will be fighting for the first time in around a year, so hasn't been an active fighter recently, but he's fought 4 times in the last 4 years. I don't really like that, but I do feel like he's a good fighter. He's a skilled, aggressive striker, very fast, nasty straight punch combinations, really nice kicks, really good jab to high kick combination. He has a nasty counter lead hook. His counters in the pocket are really good, super tough. He's willing to throw down, but his willingness to brawl has cost him a couple times. Lowry's a guy who's shown to be hittable, and I do feel Moda has the power and precision to put Lowry's lights out, though. In the grappling, I don't really rate Moda that highly. His takedown defense isn't the best. He definitely slows down. He does have good get-ups, though, and submission attacks off his back. I've seen him stand up from good wrestlers, black belts, and I do feel he has the grappling to counter anything Lowry tries. Moda will not likely shoot, and this will be a battle on the feet. I mean, if you remember Lowry's fight in the Contender Series, he shot in on a really bad double leg, slow, telegraphed. Devontae Smith defended it easily, landed some elbows, and took him out. So I don't think he's going to be wanting to grapple too much in this fight. If this fight stays on the feet, I just think that Moda is the more dangerous guy. He's faster, he throws more dynamic combinations, and he's probably going to catch Lowry and put him down. I do worry about the Chinamoto a little bit, but he's a good fighter. I think he's too skilled for Lowry, so I'm going to go with Nicolas Moda via first round knockout here. And I'm not sure this is a bit of a weird matchup. It's a short notice matchup with Shaheen Santana. He was originally supposed to take on Landon Quinones. It was going to be a battle of Florida, but with the Quinones pulling out, Santana's now getting replaced by Natan Levy. And Natan Levy, and for Natan Levy, he's had all his fights in LFA. He's 5-0 in that promotion as a pro. He's coming off a win there just a little over 2 months ago, and he's never faced anyone with a losing record, so he's fought some pretty solid competition. He's still green, he's developing, but he's a good athlete. He's a black belt in karate and kung fu, and he's a pretty good jiu-jitsu fighter as well, but doesn't have a ton of experience as a pro, and likes to throw a lot of kicks on the outside, good knees, good long punches. He has some good combinations he'll throw, like some nice punches to low kicks, some punches to head kicks. But he's a little bit hittable, doesn't really have the best hands or boxing defense. In his last fight, he was almost finished by strikes in the 2nd round. But he has pretty good grappling. His wrestling, offensively and defensively, is pretty good. He could scramble, good jiu-jitsu. When he commits, he has some decent level changes, takedowns. He'll distract opponents with some punches, hit some nice doubles. And he's heavy on top, good control. He has no issue just hanging out in opponent's guards or half guard and just winning a decision, but he has a pretty decent submission game as well. 3-0 decisions in his career, 2 submissions. He usually fights at 145, and this fight's going to be really short notice, so it's at 160 pounds, so I think that kind of favors Santana a little bit, because Levy is going to be trying to grapple and hit takedowns. But I do think this, a winnable fight for him. he's going to have to get his grappling going and get the win here. But Santana, undefeated at 6-0. He's also had an undefeated amateur career at 5-0. He's fought some okay competition. He's been able to run through most of them in the first round, 5 submission victories in round 1. His fight against Henry Lilly, though, who's a 6-3 fighter, the most experienced fighter that Santana has ever faced. That fight went to a split decision. There's not much footage out there on Santana. His height is not listed either, but he does look pretty tall for the division. He throws a lot of kicks, round kicks, front kicks to the body. He'll attack the body with kicks, then throw nice question mark kicks to the head, kind of try to get you to block the body, then come up top. And doesn't throw hands much, but when he does, they're usually straight shots down the center. And he's just not a fast guy. He's a little bit hittable, but he will switch stances, give different looks, and has the potential to be a good striker, but isn't there yet. His striking is very unrefined. He's a hittable guy. Isn't super dangerous on the feet. Unless he lands a big head kick, which he usually doesn't set up well, he isn't going to hurt someone on the feet. So for me, this is a good matchup for Levy in terms of the striking. He isn't going to get someone that's going to overwhelm him with, real good striking skills. But Santana uses length well when opponents shoot in on him. He tries to catch front chokes, good darces, anacondas, guillotines. And I was only able to find a couple of fights on his record, but one of those fights he did lock in a guillotine, turn it into a darce, and got the tap. And his takedown defense isn't very good, though. He can be put on his back. On his back, he doesn't really look very good. He will try to use the high guard and throw up some submissions, but doesn't have the fastest hips, and fighters can stuff the subs and pass his guard. And he is a scrambly guy. Good job working back to his feet or getting out of bad positions. I've seen fighters take his back, mount him, and he was able to get out of it. His fight with Lilly, that was a split decision. Lilly had a lot of success taking him down, controlling him on top, but Santana was able to reverse, get a couple takedowns in the clinch himself, and forced Lilly to his back with the choke attempt that probably won him the fight. And Santana's pretty good on top. He gets into dominant positions like the mount or the back and has pretty good ground and pound, good rear naked chokes, and he has 5 submissions in his 6 wins. He has good composure, and he has a lot of potential, but I wasn't super impressed with what I saw, to be honest with you. And with this fight, I do feel like it's a winnable fight for Natan Levy. He just has to get his grappling going. He has to get it to the ground, control him on top, and avoid the submissions. He has to, be ready for the front chokes, and if he gets taken down or he gets put on his back, he has to be ready to scramble, get back up on the feet. I mean, I don't really know who I favor, but I feel like maybe Natan is a little bit better on the feet than Shaheen Santana. It's just the height, the reach, the size of Santana. Maybe it'll be a little bit of a issue for him. But I just haven't seen Santana really have great boxing, which I feel like that's, what would give Natan problems at this time. So I'm actually going to go with Natan Levy to win via decision with this takedown game. It's it's an interesting fight. If he had more of a camp, stuff like that, I would be more willing to favor him a little bit more confidently. So I'm going to pick Natan Levy by decision, but one of my more or lesser confident plays. And finally in the main event, we have a middleweight fight with Mariusz Ksiazkiewicz, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but he's going to be taking on Mario Souza here. He's 8-0, 7 finishes. And Mariusz, he's been knocked out as an amateur, though, but that was in 2010. He's fought very sporadically throughout his career, though. He's been pro since 2011, just 8 fights. He's once again coming off over a year layoff here. His opponent, is 11-1. He's fought a few more times than Mariusz, but Mariusz, he's fought some decent competition. His last 3 wins came over fighters with winning records, and his last win was over probably the most experienced guy he's ever fought with a record of 18-8. He's an okay striker. He isn't really the athlete Mario is, and I think he's going to be looking to get this fight to the ground, but he's okay with the jab. He has a good low kick. He may be able to catch Mario coming in with some shots. He has a pretty good overhand right. He likes to use his jab to set up combos. Decent boxing. He will feint, switch stances to create opening for combos, and probably is the more technical striker. I just don't know if he can deal with that aggression, speed, and athleticism of Mario. But Mariusz, he's an alright grappler too. He likes to get in the clinch or shoot doubles, get the fight to the mat, look for submissions. Isn't the most proficient wrestler though. Can be taken down himself, and he had a big scramble fest with Micah Brakefield prior to getting the TKO. That fight ended because Brakefield broke his nose, didn't want to continue between rounds. It wasn't like Mariusz knocked him out, but Mariusz, he is good at finishing when he could take the back. All of his submissions are rear naked chokes, and he has 5 submission wins. His opponent, Mario Souza, he's Brazilian. This is going to be the first time he's fighting in the United States. All 12 of his fights have been in Brazil. He hasn't faced very good competition, but he's just 24 years old, and he's a dangerous fighter. He's finished all 11 of his wins. The one fight of his career that went to decision, he lost. He's finished 9 of his 11 wins in the first round, and he's super aggressive. He comes forward behind straight punches, kicks, knees, likes to work his way into the clinch where he has big knees, big elbows. He hits hard, he's fast, he's long, he's a good athlete, and that makes a lot of opponents weary when a level change on him. And Souza does kind of overextend on his shots and can jam his power a little bit, isn't super technical. But when he connects and connects clean, he can knock you out. He has 7 knockouts. He does kind of lack composure. Fighters can get on his legs pretty easily. But he has a good sprawl, decent takedown defense. He likes to attack subs, and he will pull guard on guillotines and then work off his back for submissions, which I don't usually like to see. But he has pretty good sweeps. If he can get on top, he's aggressive with his ground and pound, and he has a lot of submission victories off his back. He's always looking for the finish. And with this fight, man, I got to go with Mario Souza here. I just think he's on the feet. He's quicker. He's going to make Mariusz uncomfortable with his speed, his power, and pressure. On the ground, I think he's going to be able to catch Mariusz in a submission or just dominate the ground. I'm worried maybe if he gets tired and the pole can grind him out or take his back leg and submit him. But I just think Mario Souza will be too much, though. He's going to win this fight via submission or knockout. So I'm going to go with Mario Souza to get the win here. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. And once again, just like last week, I'm going to be putting out a video when the odds drop with my plays and everything on Pub Sports Radio. So make sure to come check that out. Thanks for watching it last week. We had over 1,000 views on that. It was a lot of support. So let's see if we can do better than that this time. Make sure to just type it on YouTube, Pub Sports Radio. It'll pop up. You'll probably find it later today, early tomorrow, just depending on the lines come out and whenever I can get it finished, get it uploaded over there. But thanks for watching, guys, once again, and hopefully we can do well on these predictions, and I'll talk to you guys later.